At a charity dinner, she discovered the unexpected truth: her billionaire son calls her mommy. Mary glanced around the opulent hall, her heart pounding against her ribcage. Crystal chandeliers glittered overhead, casting a glow over the clinking glasses and hushed conversations of finely dressed elites. This wasn't her world. She felt like a ghost wandering through a dream, the denim of her skirt a stark contrast to the tailored suits surrounding her. Yet, here she was, invited to a charity dinner, a recognition she never dared hope for due to her humble but consistent community service. Looking into the crowd, Mary felt an overwhelming sense of pride and love swell within her. As she navigated the sea of unfamiliar faces, her thoughts drifted to her son, John. She had spent every ounce of her energy raising him, working countless double shifts at the diner just to ensure he could chase his dreams. She had taught him the values of hard work, and now, as he attended business school, she imagined him taking on the world with that same determination. But amidst the laughter and stories of self-made success, shadows of doubt crept into her mind. Were her sacrifices enough? She overheard snippets of conversations, words like privilege, hard work, and the American dream. Each sentence felt like a stab, a reminder of the chasm between her life and theirs. She swallowed hard, trying to keep her composure, the glass in her hand trembling slightly as if mirroring her anxiety. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Suddenly, her world tilted. In the midst of the glittering swirl, she caught a whisper about an anonymous benefactor dedicated to uplifting the community, a benefactor whose ideals matched her own values. With a racing heart, she leaned closer, trying to catch every word. As she did, pieces began to click together, enveloping her in a whirlwind of confusion and pride. Who could this person be that shared her convictions? Then, the tension in the room shifted. A figure strode to the front, the spotlight catching on someone very familiar. Mary froze. It was John, smiling brightly, confidence radiating from him. The crowd fell silent. He cleared his throat and began to speak about the charity and his commitment to community. As he spoke, Mary felt both hope and betrayal intertwine. Why hadn't he told her? Did he feel he had to hide this part of his life from her? As the announcement crescendoed, the air thickened. The truth rang out: John, the philanthropist changing lives, was her son. A wave of emotions crashed over Mary: joy, disbelief, and a gut-wrenching fear. The applause around her felt surreal. The revelation left her heart pounding, questions swirling like a storm. What does this mean for them? Could their relationship withstand this new reality? Would love bridge the overwhelming gap of social status that separated them? Now, Mary stood on the precipice of a new chapter, where the bonds of love and identity would be tested in ways she had never imagined. Would she step forward and embrace the son she raised, whose dreams now soared high above her humble beginnings? Mary's mind raced as she stood motionless in the crowd, the applause ringing in her ears like distant thunder. Her heart was a cacophony of emotions, excitement intertwined with fear. John had achieved so much, and yet, the enormity of it swelled a knot in her throat. What did this mean for her? Would their relationship change forever? As the audience began to disperse, a wave of voices surrounded her, each a reminder of the lavish world she felt so out of place in. She pushed through the sea of suits and ties, her eyes locked on John. He was laughing now, backslap in celebration, the victorious smile illuminating his face. He had come so far. Yet, with every step she took, a part of her hesitated. Mary. She turned to see Evelyn, a well-known community organizer, making her way through the throng. What a remarkable evening. Your son is incredible. Mary offered a tentative smile, the compliment bittersweet. Yes, he is, she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt the weight of expectation press down. Everyone here admired John, but would they admire her too? Would they see her sacrifices or just a woman who had managed to raise a billionaire? Evelyn continued speaking, her excitement infectious. You must be so proud. We all are. The words sparked a flicker of pride within Mary, but it was quickly dimmed by a wave of insecurity. I am, but I wonder, did I really do enough for him? Are you kidding? Evelyn laughed lightly, nudging Mary's arm. He speaks so highly of his upbringing. You instilled values in him that many lose sight of once they hit it big. Tears glistened in Mary's eyes. The truth was, she had tried with every fiber of her being to give John a grounded life. But would it be enough to keep him close now? As she watched him surrounded by people hoisting glasses in celebration, she felt that familiar pang, the fear of being on the outside. Suddenly, John spotted her. His laughter faded, and his expression transformed into one of warmth and recognition. He made his way through the crowd and wrapped her in a tight embrace. Mom! I'm so glad you're here. The sincerity in his voice melted her anxiety. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart, she said, her voice tinged with emotion. Come on, let us get out of here for a bit. I want to talk to you, he suggested, his eyes flashing with a determination that reminded her of his younger self, the boy who always sought her out for advice. John led her to a quieter corner of the hall, away from the glitz and chatter. The air felt different here, more intimate. I didn't know how to tell you about my involvement with the charity, he confessed, his brow furrowing slightly. I wanted to wait until the right moment. Mary's heart dropped. You didn't think I'd be proud? It's not that, he interrupted gently. I wanted you to see my world before I pulled you into it. Your world, she echoed, but her voice quivered. You know I've always supported you. This is a dream come true. Then why does it feel like you're more scared than happy? He asked, concern knitting his brows. She took a deep breath, wrestling with the turmoil inside. Because this is all so new. Our lives are different now. I just don't want to lose you. John's expression softened as he grasped her hands firmly. You won't lose me. We're still family, no matter what. I need you in this more than you know. As hope began to weave its way through her heart, Mary caught a glimpse of something sparkling behind him, a familiar face hesitating at the entrance. It sent a chill down her spine. Why was she here? The evening was unraveling faster than Mary's heart could keep up. Who was this person that might change everything? John followed her gaze, and his smile faltered. The laughter and chatter around them faded into a murmur as he turned to face the entrance. Mary felt a rush of adrenaline course through her as she recognized the woman stepping forward. It was Anita, John's high school sweetheart. Anita was striking, a blend of confidence and charm. She wore a sleek silver dress that shimmered with every step, her hair cascading in waves. Mary's heart raced, not only from surprise but from a deep-seated worry. What was she doing here now? John! Anita called, her voice clear and welcoming, cutting through the crowd. I can't believe you're actually here. Congratulations. Anita, John said slowly, uncertainty creeping into his voice. Mary's mind spun. The last she had heard, they had parted on good terms, but how good could that really be? She could see the tension in John's posture. He was torn between that familiar connection and the new world he was building for himself. Anita approached them, a radiant smile on her face. I just had to come see how you're doing. Your speech was amazing. It's so inspiring what you're doing with the charity. Thanks, Anita, John replied, glancing at Mary, who felt like the walls around her were closing in. The air felt electric, charged with emotions she couldn't quite pin down. It wasn't just jealousy, it was uncertainty, fear, and memories. Snippets of John in the backyard with Anita, laughing under the summer sun. Mary forced a smile, trying to mask her discomfort. It's so good to see you, Anita, she managed, hoping her voice didn't tremble. You both were so close. Anita's gaze flickered between Mary and John. I was just surprised to see you here. It must be overwhelming for you, seeing all of this happen. Her tone was gentle, laced with sincerity. Mary struggled to respond. It is, but it's also wonderful. Each word felt heavy, full of unspoken emotions. John, do you remember that summer we organized that fundraiser for the local shelter? Anita continued, nostalgia in her eyes. You were so passionate. It's amazing to see how you've carried that into this. A shadow crossed John's expression. Yeah, I guess I had a pretty good teacher, he said, his eyes lingering on his mother. Mary's heart ached at the implication. Was John still tied to the values they had cultivated together, even amidst this glitzy new world? Or was Anita a reminder of a past that threatened their future? But before she could voice any of her worries, John took a decisive step forward. Anita, I'm grateful for everything we went through, but my life has changed. I want you to meet my mom, Mary. She has been my rock through all of this. Anita's smile softened, but Mary could see the flicker of something in her eyes. Challenge, perhaps. Of course. It's wonderful to finally meet the woman behind the legend. Mary held her breath, feeling exposed under the scrutiny. Would she be judged now? Would Anita see her as an obstacle instead of a support? Thank you, Mary replied, her voice steadying. It's nice to meet you, too. The conversation lingered in the air, heavy with potential conflict. John stood between them, uncertainty clouding his features. Mary could feel that same not returning, coiling tightly in her chest. As they exchanged pleasantries, the underlying tension was palpable, each smile hiding deeper emotions. Questions raced through Mary's mind. What did Anita want? How would she fit into John's life moving forward? Just then, she caught a glimpse of the night sky through the glass doors. The first stars began to twinkle, a promise of hope amidst uncertainty. John, can we step outside for a moment? Mary blurted, her heart pounding. I need to talk to you alone. He looked at her, then back to Anita, confusion crossing his face. Sure, Mom. Just a sec. As they made their way outside, Mary felt a mix of relief and dread. What just happened in there? She whispered, the cool air biting but refreshing against her heated cheeks. Mom, it's complicated, John replied, his brow furrowing. But you need to trust me and tell me what you really think about all of this. She hesitated, looking back through the glass at Anita, a figure now dwarfing her in John's life. There was so much she wanted to say, so many fears transcending words. How would she ever voice her worries without shattering the moment? Mary looked into John's eyes and saw confusion mirrored in his gaze. Could they navigate this together? Can we really handle this? She finally asked, uncertainty lacing her words. And as silence enveloped them, she knew that a decision lay before them, one that could either draw them closer or tear them apart. Would they both take the leap? The cool night air wrapped around them like a soothing balm, but it did little to ease the tension building in Mary's chest. She could feel her heart race as the silence hung between them, both searching for the right words. John's eyes were steady, yet they portrayed a swirling storm of emotions: confusion, loyalty, and a hint of apprehension. Mom, Anita represents a part of my life I can't just erase, he said slowly, each word deliberate. But that doesn't change how I feel about you. Mary swallowed hard, the lump in her throat threatening to choke her. I get that, she replied softly, but you don't understand what it feels like to see someone who loved you first. It's like she paused, struggling to articulate the emotions spiraling within her. It's like you're being pulled back into a world I can't reach. John stepped closer, concern etched into his features. You're not losing me, Mom. You're my anchor. I need you to remember that. As he spoke, Mary couldn't help but think of all the sacrifices she'd made to build a future for him. Every late night and early morning, each bank account crunch, and those uncomfortable discussions about choices and dreams, they were all leading to this moment. Yet, the shadow of Anita loomed large, threatening to overshadow everything she had built. "I'm trying," she admitted, her voice shaky. "I really am. It's just I see what you two had, and it terrifies me. What if she wants you back?" "Mom, it's not like that. Anita has her life, and I have mine. I care about her, sure, but it's different now." "It's not the same," John reassured her. His sincerity struck a chord deep inside Mary, but the gnawing worry remained, refusing to fade. She looked past him to the distant twinkle of city lights, the sound of laughter seeping through the door behind them, a world alive with possibilities but feeling untouchable. "I know I should trust you, John. But..." She sighed, unable to find the right words. "Let me show you," he said suddenly, a spark of determination lighting his expression. "Let us invite her to join us for a moment. We need to clear the air." Mary blinked in surprise. "Invite her? Just like that? Why not?" John shrugged, his eyes brightening with resolve. "We'll have a conversation, and maybe you can see that there's really nothing to worry about." His confidence was infectious, but Mary felt a knot twist tighter inside her. What if inviting Anita closer revealed more than just smoke and mirrors? As they hesitated a moment longer, John tugged gently at her hand. "What if we turn this into a chance for reconciliation instead of conflict?" Mary weighed his words in her mind. Could this truly allow her to see what lay beneath the surface? The fear of something worse kept her anchored, but didn't she owe it to both of them to take that leap of faith? "Okay," she finally sighed, heart pounding in her chest. "Let us do it." Taking a deep breath, they made their way back inside, where Anita waited, shimmering against the backdrop of chatter and merriment. John approached with a blend of courage and vulnerability. "Anita, can you join us for a moment? We could all use some fresh air together." Mary's stomach twisted. She could see the surprise on Anita's face, but then it melted into a gracious smile. "Absolutely. I'd love that." John glanced back at Mary, the warmth in his gaze reassuring her. Maybe this was the path they needed to navigate this complicated terrain together. As everyone stepped outside again, the stars overhead twinkled like little beacons of hope. But with the air thickening with potential and a sense of unknown, Mary couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something transformative, or explosive, and as they began to talk, Mary's heart raced. What did this moment hold for their future? Would clarity come from this unlikely trio united under the night sky? As the first words left John's mouth, the tension unraveling among them, Mary felt the weight of destiny shifting. What truths awaited them in the cool night air? The air outdoors was laced with anticipation, a palpable tension that thickened with every breath. Mary stood next to John, a self-protective barrier of uncertainty around her. Anita's presence seemed to fill the space, becoming a magnet for all the fears Mary had tried to suppress. "Isn't it beautiful tonight?" Anita remarked, tilting her head toward the expansive sky. Her voice was light, but Mary sensed an underlying weight. "I love how the stars look against the city skyline." "Yeah, they're nice," John replied, his gaze shifting between his mom and Anita as if gauging their reactions. It struck Mary how effortlessly they slipped into conversation, nostalgia weaving through their shared history like a warm blanket. She felt like an outsider to memories she couldn't own. "So, how have you been, John?" Anita asked, her smile bright but cautious. "Busy with work and school. Trying to figure everything out, you know." He managed a small laugh that felt almost out of place. Mary watched his relaxed demeanor, noting the ease with which he held the conversation. A few months ago, he had been just her little boy. Now, he was navigating adult relationships, and it bewildered her. "Oh, trust me, I know that feeling." Anita chuckled, a hint of mirth mingled with something deeper regret. "Understanding?" Mary couldn't tell. Life in the city can feel like a blur sometimes. As they chatted, Mary shifted her weight, wrapping her arms around herself like a protective shell. She wanted to join in, to bridge the gap that threatened to swallow her whole, yet words eluded her. Instead, she nodded politely, listening as they exchanged pleasantries, memories, and laughter that felt foreign in her ears. Suddenly, John took a step closer to Mary, interrupting the flow. "Mom, remember the night we talked about your dream of starting a bakery?" He turned to Anita. "She makes the best cupcakes." Anita's eyes sparkled, cutting through the haze. "Really? I had no idea." "That sounds amazing, Mary." The unexpected compliment sparked warmth in Mary's chest. A small smile began to emerge as she shared her excitement about her passion. "Well, it was just a dream, but I've had a lot of ideas, like a cupcake shop that supports local charities." "Wow! That's incredible," Anita responded, genuine admiration shining in her smile. "I would love to help however I can." Mary's heart raced, not just at the compliment, but at the prospect of support she never anticipated. Maybe Anita wasn't just a thorn, perhaps she could be a bridge. "Really?" Mary asked, surprise creeping into her voice. "You'd really want to be involved?" "Absolutely. We could brainstorm together," Anita said, her enthusiasm infectious. Just like that, the atmosphere shifted. The earlier tension began to dissolve in the face of shared passion, an unexpected connection weaving through their dialogue. Mary felt her heart soften, momentarily disarming the fortress she had built around herself, but as laughter bubbled between them, a nagging thought whispered in Mary's mind. Was this a true moment of solidarity, or just a fleeting reprieve from the real pain existing beneath the surface? As the night deepened and the stars blinked overhead, Mary's heart swirled with hope and a lingering doubt. Could a new chapter truly begin? Or was this an illusion, masking the reality of the storm still brewing between them? Before she could voice the fears clawing at her sense of peace, John took a breath and said, "I think we're all here for a reason." Anita nodded, her expression shifting to one of seriousness. "That's right. Maybe tonight can be about rebuilding instead of tearing apart what has been broken." With her heart pounding and questions seeping in, Mary felt the weight of the moment shift like tectonic plates beneath them, promising either devastation or renewal. As they stood under the vastness of the sky, all eyes turned to John, who was about to share something monumental. What revelation was brewing within him, waiting to unravel the threads of their entangled lives? John cleared his throat, the quiet moment stretching thin under the weight of their expectations. The soft glow of the streetlights surrounded them like a cocoon, amplifying the anticipation. Mary's heart raced. She leaned in slightly, as if drawing strength from the vulnerability in the air. "I've been thinking a lot lately," he began, his voice steady but filled with a gravity that anchored the space. "About our family, about you too." The words hung in the night, carrying hints of uncertainty. "What do you mean, honey?" Mary asked, her curiosity piqued. She could feel the pull of apprehension around her heart, tightening as she waited for him to continue. John glanced between Mary and Anita, as if trying to stitch their perspectives together. "It's just I realize we all have our wounds, right? We don't talk about them enough." He looked down, and Mary noticed the way tension wrinkled his forehead. "And I need you both to know that I want to understand. I want us to be better." Anita's expression softened with understanding, but Mary felt the paranoia creeping back. What was he trying to say? Was he preparing them for some expected confession, or was he hoping to peel back layers they weren't ready to confront? "I think we've all been harboring so much," John added, his tone shifting to one of urgency. "I felt it the other day, and really since then like something shifted in me. I don't want to be the reason we keep drifting apart." "John," Mary interrupted, emotion catching in her throat. She reached out instinctively, resting a hand on his arm. "You're not the reason." "Yes, I am," he exclaimed, frustration piercing through. "I've let things go unsaid. I've watched you both suffer and do nothing." He scrunched his eyes shut for a moment, like a man wrestling with unseen demons. "Mom, I've wanted to tell you something for a while now. And tonight, it feels like the right time." Mary's heart thudded louder, each beat echoing louder than the last. Could it be something she had been dreading, the confirmation of fears that had kept her up at night? Or perhaps something unexpected, something beautiful that could reshape their story? Go ahead, honey, Mary encouraged gently, eager for him to take the leap. We're listening. He took a deep breath, a flicker of pain passing through his features. I know things have been hard since the split. I've noticed how it affected both of you. And rather than confront it, I kept backing away. I thought isolating myself would lessen the burden. But it hasn't. Anita nodded, tears glistening at the corners of her eyes. We all handle this differently, John. I'm sorry for the way I've acted, how I've been. There is something I've discovered about myself along the way. John paused, swallowing hard. I want to embrace the love and talk about what's really going on, not just avoid it or let it simmer in silence. A charged silence filled the space, heavy with unspoken truths. Mary felt her heart lurch, straddling the edge between hope and dread. What was he about to profess? What revelation loomed behind those earnest eyes? Mom, he hesitated, his voice shaky. I don't know how to say this without it sounding odd, but you'll always be my mom, but he inhaled sharply. I've realized you're also my best friend in this world. I don't want to hide that from anyone, especially you. Emotions surged through Mary, swelling until she could barely contain them. This wasn't the bombshell she had braced for. Instead, it ignited something fresh inside her, a reassured connection tinged with unbridled hope. I want us to grow, all of us to be more than just a family with cracks. I want us to become whole together, he declared boldly. John's honesty sent shivers down Mary's spine, each word unraveling years of unsaid sentiments. But a trembling intensity lingered just beneath the surface, like a storm yet to break. Anita shifted, clenching her fists as she faced John. That's a beautiful sentiment, she said softly, but it requires work and honesty from all of us. Honestly, I'm ready, he replied, determination lighting his eyes. Mary felt a sudden rush of hope. Maybe tonight was a pivotal moment after all. They could face the truths they had tucked away for so long. But then her thoughts swirled back to lingering uncertainties. Were they really ready to confront everything? As the night sky wore on, the looming truths remained, just waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Would they dare to unearth deeper conversations? Or would fear silence them again? John looked between them, his eyes searching. Can we truly start over? Mary's heart hung on the edge of hesitation. A new beginning felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Would they seize the chance, or would old wounds keep them shackled? Mary took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the unspoken words still hanging in the air around them. John's question echoed in her mind, but she struggled to find an answer. Could they truly start anew? Could the cracks that marred their family be healed? She exchanged a glance with Anita, whose eyes mirrored her own uncertainty yet also flickered with encouragement. I want to believe we can, Mary finally managed to say, her voice trembling slightly. But starting over means facing the hurt, doesn't it? We can't overlook what has happened. That's right. John nodded firmly, his youthful resolve shining through the trepidation in his eyes. It's about acknowledging the past while moving forward. I've been scared to dive in, to really talk about what we've all been feeling. Anita leaned forward, her elbows resting on her knees. Then let us talk. We're here, right? We've always been here. No more hiding or pretending. Mary felt a flood of tears at the edges of her vision. It was as if a dam had broken. Over the years, so many conversations had gone unsaid, so many feelings bottled up. I've been afraid too, she confessed, letting the walls she'd built around her heart crack just enough to allow some vulnerability to seep through. Afraid of losing you both in this mess of emotions. John reached for Mary's hand, squeezing it gently. We won't lose each other, Mom. We've already weathered so much together. It's just we can't go through life acting like everything is fine. It's not. But I believe we can be honest and still be a family. Silence enveloped them again, filled with both fear and hope. The air grew heavier with the weight of their confessions. Mary's mind rushed back to the days before the split. The laughter, the hopeful dreams. How did it all fall into this confusion? How did we get here? She whispered, more to herself than to the others. I think it happened slowly, Anita replied softly, her voice steady. One unsaid word at a time, one misstep leading to another. Mary felt a twinge of guilt. I should have seen it sooner. I should have fought harder. I don't want any of us blaming each other, John interjected, his gentle leadership emerging. Mistakes were made. It's taken a toll. But let us focus on how we can change things moving forward. There was a flicker of understanding in Mary's chest. Okay, she said, inhaling deeply to steady herself. Let us begin with our feelings. What is it we're all holding back? Anita shifted in her seat. I suppose I feel invisible. Like my thoughts don't matter as much. Especially with you two always so wrapped up in your own battles. Mary's heart twisted at this admission. I never meant to make you feel that way. I was so consumed with my struggles. I can't imagine how lonely that left you. John bit on his lip, searching for the right words. I think I've been so focused on my grief that I didn't realize how much pain you both were in. I've been stubborn. The moment felt profound, yet tender. Each person wrestled with their own emotional landscape, fumbling through the darkness together. We could face this together, Mary murmured, her heart swelling. It could be the beginning. Yes, Anita echoed, her eyes shining with unspent tears that hinted at relief and release. A real beginning. As the shadow of unresolved issues loomed over their hearts, John's determination pierced through. Let us commit to this unity. One conversation at a time. A hint of hope stirred in Mary's chest, they were trying to build something new. But a ghost of doubt lingered, nudging at her thoughts. Would they have the courage to go deeper? With dawn nearing, the streetlights flickered gently as if offering them a sign of the journey ahead. Would their fragile healing remain intact when faced with tougher truths? John's gaze met hers, a shared vulnerability reflected. Promise me we'll talk about everything, no matter how tough it feels. Mary hesitated, feeling the weight of that promise. Yes, they could aspire to reclaim their family, but what if more hidden fears emerged? What if they stumbled into pain they hadn't anticipated? John, she breathed, her heart thudding heavily, can we truly confront everything? As they stood at the brink of rediscovery, the answer faded into the cool night air, waiting to be unveiled. Mary's thoughts spun as she processed John's words. The night felt electric, filled with unspoken hopes and fears. Around them, the soft hum of night wrapped them in an almost surreal cocoon, but the promise lingered, palpable and heavy. Anita's face glimmered with anticipation. So, what's the first thing we should talk about? She asked, her voice soft yet determined. John looked to Mary for guidance, his eyes wide and trusting. For a moment, she felt like she was standing at the edge of a precipice. Let us talk about the sadness we've felt, she suggested, her voice quivering. It was a simple statement but a daring first step. I miss Dad, John admitted suddenly, the sorrow spilling over like a gentle cascade. I miss who he was before everything went south. Mary's chest constricted as she felt John's raw pain. Me too, she murmured, eyes glistening. I keep thinking about how we used to laugh together. Anita chimed in, her tone earnest. And when he used to build those crazy forts with us. It felt safe back then. For a fleeting moment, the heaviness of their reality lifted as laughter erupted, tinged with nostalgia. It pierced through the sorrow, reminding them of brighter times. Yet the laughter faded as quickly as it came, leaving behind a tidal wave of emotion submerged underneath. I know he is struggling, John murmured, a frown etching his brows. But sometimes, I just want to scream at him. Why can't he see how much we need him? Mary felt every beat of conflict within John's heart. I understand that anger, Johnny, she said, leaning toward him, her voice fierce yet tender. We've been hurt, but he must be hurt too. Being together as a family again starts with compassion for each other and even for him. Anita nodded, her expression thoughtful. It's like we all took different paths through the same storm, and now we're lost. What if he can't change? John's voice cracked, leaving a stark silence in its wake. The question hung heavy. For a moment, neither Mary nor Anita answered. What if they couldn't? Fear rode high on Mary's chest, but she swallowed down the panic. We'll never know if we don't talk to him, she finally said. And we'll never know unless we stay united. There it is again, that promise, Anita said softly, her smile breaking through the tension. If we vow to be open, we can rebuild. All of us. John clasped his hands together, brow furrowed. This will be messy. But I don't want to tiptoe around it anymore. Let us confront the chaos. Exactly. Mary felt a rush of momentum. But to do that we need to start small, right? What about our own feelings? What angers us, what saddens us? Let us speak our truth, even if it feels scary. So, I'm going to go first, John said, straightening in his chair. I feel invisible too, just like Anita. I don't want to keep seeing my emotions pushed aside. Mary's heart ached at this revelation. She had thought she was alone in her feelings of despair. I didn't realize how you've been struggling. It's all so jumbled, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. And I want to scream. I want to scream at Dad, at myself, at the world. Mary reached across the space to hold his hand tightly. We're not going to scream alone anymore. We'll scream together. There was a hesitant nod from Anita. Let us name what hurts. Then maybe we can begin to heal. Mary glanced out at the first blush of dawn creeping through the horizon. They were still fragile, still teetering on a fine line, but this was a beginning, a flicker of light breaking through the darkness. But just as hope began to swell, a sudden thought crossed Mary's mind, causing her heart to plummet. What if we uncover things so painful could it drive us apart instead of together? The uncertainty lingered in the air, a palpable tension that threatened to crack their newfound strength. And yet, as they wrestled with the thought, she could feel the ground beneath them shifting once more. Would their commitment survive the truths they hadn't yet faced? Let us find out together, John said sharply, his eyes meeting hers with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Mary drew in a shaky breath, knowing deep down that this path forward would not only uncover their family's hidden pain but might also spark the truth that could change everything. Could they truly survive the storm they were about to face? The sun began to rise, casting a warm glow that spilled across the room. Mary felt its light creeping in, fragile and desperate, just like the hope nestled in the silent spaces between their words. She took a slow, deep breath, trying to navigate the swirling mix of emotions inside her. Okay then, she said, her voice shaky but determined. Let us start naming what hurts. I guess I can go. I'm scared of losing our family as we know it. John and Anita looked at her, their expressions a mirror of her own fear. But what scares me more, she continued, running her fingers through her hair as if trying to untangle the mess within her mind, is that we all end up alone in our own pain. I feel like I'm screaming into a vacuum and no one hears me. Anita leaned forward, her eyes softening. Mary, we hear you. We're all scared. And sometimes, I feel like we're surrounded by shadows of who we used to be. Every time we see Dad crumpled on that couch, I lose a piece of myself. Mary nodded vigorously, feeling the sting of tears rise again. I feel that too. It's like the laughter has been muted. And I'm tired of pretending everything's okay when it's not. John's face tightened, his frustration bubbling to the surface again. I want to scream, but more than that. I want to fight for what we had. This family, this connection. It's worth salvaging. A fierce spark ignited in Mary's chest. Yes. The way we used to be together and full of life. We can push through this. We can. But we have to face the truth, no matter how painful. But what if it's too painful? John interjected, his voice rising slightly. What if it blows us apart instead? Anita's hand slipped into John's, grounding him. We can't live in fear of the unknown. If we don't face it, we lose the chance to put ourselves back together. Mary could feel the energy shifting, a collective acceptance rising like tidewater. So, we commit to honesty, no matter how difficult, she concluded, clutching both of their hands firmly. John looked at them, the weight of the moment pressing down on his shoulders. Let us take turns. One by one, we spill it out. Emotions, fears, everything. Anita nodded fervently, her voice steady and resolute. This should be a safe space. No judgment, just love. We're in this together. As they prepared to embark on this emotional journey, Mary felt a wave of vulnerability wash over her. I'll go first, she declared. She paused, summoning the courage buried beneath the layers of hurt and longing. I feel utterly lost without Dad being there for us. I feel like I'm living in a shadow world, and I'm terrified that if we keep waiting, we might lose him forever. Tears pooled in Anita's eyes. Me too. I feel confused, like I'm always reaching for something that isn't there. We need Dad to see us, to help us understand. As the words fell out, Mary sensed a slight shift in their dynamic. It was no longer just a conversation, it was a lifeline being thrown into turbulent seas. She could feel hope and fear intertwining, and she wondered if this storm they were braving might just bring them closer, not further apart. But amid the growing unity, a knot of anxiety tightened in Mary's stomach. They had only begun to scratch the surface. Would uncovering deeper hurts truly connect them, or would it unravel what they were desperately trying to save? A silence settled in as they gathered their thoughts, the air thick with uncertainty. What's next? John asked, breaking the silence and tapping his fingers nervously on the table. Mary looked into their eyes, feeling a mix of exhaustion and surprise at the strength rising within her. Next, we continue to tell our truths. But we must also be ready to listen. And as they prepared to dive deeper into the emotional waters ahead, Mary felt a flicker of defiance against her fears. Could this really be the turning point they all so desperately needed? The warmth of the sun outside brightened, but inside, shadows loomed right beneath the surface. What unspoken truths were waiting in the wings, ready to take the stage? Would their connection hold when the darkest parts of their past stepped into the light? Mary stood on the balcony, the sun spilling golden light across the horizon, embraced by the warmth of a brand new day. The air was crisp and fresh, and she breathed deeply, focusing on the hope igniting within her. She could hardly believe the night had shifted so dramatically. They had dared to confront their pain, to peel back the layers of hurt they had hidden for too long. John, standing beside her, turned to her with eyes brimming with sincerity. Mom, can you see how far we've come already? His voice was rich with gratitude. Mary smiled softly, the weight of uncertainty lightening just a bit. Yes, my love. I see it. Her heart lifted as she remembered the raw honesty they had shared beneath the stars. Echoes of their truths lingered in the background. As if sensing her thoughts, John continued, we faced so many fears. I think it made us stronger. Mary nodded, allowing the warmth of his words to envelop her. They had shared fragments of their hearts, opened doors that had remained shut for too long. Not far away, Anita approached from the steps, a vibrant energy surrounding her. Morning, you two. She said cheerfully, contrasting the intensity of last night's dialogue. The brightness in her expression was infectious, and Mary felt her optimism growing. Morning. They chimed back, Mary feeling a glimmer of camaraderie settle between them. John's face mirrored her own, an alliance forging anew. Ready for today? Anita asked, her eyes twinkling. More than ready, John replied, determination shining through. Let us talk to your dad, Mary suggested, swallowing the tremor in her voice. It was a step she felt terrified of taking, but now, backed by the strength of her son and Anita, it seemed necessary. As they entered the living room, silence hung heavy in the air. The weight of unspoken words felt suffocating, but they had come too far to retreat now. John stepped forward, his voice steady. "Dad, we need to talk." The response was slow, but Mary noticed the sharpness behind her husband's weary gaze. He was shattered, yet she sensed his vulnerability. "About what?" he asked, glancing uncertainly at his family. "About us," John stated. "We want to start healing. Together." Mary felt the air shift, the choice lay heavy before them both. It was now or never. "I know I've been absent," he mumbled, the words feeling like a lifetime of regret. "I thought you'd all be better off without me." Mary stepped in, heart racing. "We can't move forward without you, though. We're a family, and we want to be whole again. But that means facing the hurt and being honest about it." His eyes widened, surprise and a flicker of hope crossing his features. "I've let this go too long," he muttered, thinking it was easier for everyone. "But by doing that, I only pushed you all further away." John interjected, "It's never too late, Dad. You're still part of us. We're ready to stand together." As the tension in the room relaxed slightly, Mary felt the corner of her mouth twitch upwards. "Please, let us talk. Let us share where we all are so we can understand each other better." Every heart in the room carried a burden, a patchwork of pain tied to the past. But in that moment, under the rising sunlight, there was also a shared commitment to reclaim something lost. With each vulnerable confession, each tear shed, the walls began to crumble. John spoke of his frustrations, the isolation, the ache of feeling torn between his family and his future. Anita shared her vision for their future together, a wild flicker of hope igniting her eyes. And with every word, Mary felt the layers of time fuse anew, binding them. But it was when John's father opened up about his struggles that the weight of the room felt truly shifted. He spoke of his dreams that had turned to dust, of the guilt that had marred his love for his family. "I've been so caught up in my depression, I didn't realize it was you all I was pushing away. I'm sorry." It was heavy, real. Mary, moved by his honesty, cried soft tears of relief. "We'll figure this out together," she reassured him. After what felt like a lifetime, her husband nodded, finally letting the vulnerability push through the armor he had worn for too long, reaching for her hand. Surrounded by love, they each took a deep breath, an unspoken promise hanging in the air. No more hiding. Just fierce honesty, fresh beginnings, and the promise of newfound hope. As the sun rose higher, light flooded the room, illuminating the raw beauty of their shared journey. From that day, their family wasn't just tethered by blood. They were bound by shared emotions, relentless honesty, and the resolve to face everything tough ahead. With hearts wide open, they ventured into the day, a bright, shining new chapter waiting ahead. Could it last? Only time would tell. But they had taken the first, crucial steps toward rebuilding, standing together, embracing everything that lay before them. As Mary opened the door to let in the new day, she grinned, knowing this one moment, this one decision, could change everything. And if you enjoyed this inspiring transformation or found it moving, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your thoughts, feelings, or reactions about the ending. This is the moment to show your support.